and Oklahoma is recognized.
Yeah, it's first of all, I'm delighted that my friend from North Dakota is carrying this bill, because I don't think there's anybody with better background and more practical experience in actually doing this. But coming from a state that also thinks pipelines are sort of a good thing, I appreciate the advocacy and the expertise. A couple points I want to make. And first, why is the president involved in this decision at all?
Well, it's a great question, and the reason the president's involved in it at all is because it's crossing the international border, and therefore it requires a presidential permit.
So otherwise, he would not be involved at all.
That's
and is part of this pipeline already been built?
It has. In fact, the portion from Oklahoma to the Gulf Coast to the refiners themselves.
Yeah, did the president actually go down there when they opened that pipeline and hold a press event celebrating it?
He did, in fact.
I thought that may have slipped their minds at the White House as well. And are there any American-owned pipelines going through this country of Canada?
I suspect there are. But
isn't there something called the Alaskan pipeline, where we move oil all the way from Alaska to the lower 48, which helps keep the price low for our friends? And so it's okay for America to run a pipeline the entire length of Canada with their consent and their support, but it's wrong for Canada to be able to run a pipeline through America?
I think we understate the importance of this pipeline project and these deliberations to our relationship with our friends.
I have no doubt about it, because I've had multiple conversations with people in Canada, and the hypocrisy that they see of us running oil through their country, which they have no objection to and cooperated in, and then refusing them the same opportunity. That is, you want to call about the United States projecting a bad image and conducting a double standard in the world. This is one of them. Now, I look at the states through which the pipeline runs, and I happen to look at where the support for the pipeline is, and it's amazing to me how almost every representative and senator in the state where the pipeline actually runs is in favor of it. There's almost no opposition. So I'm delighted that people from other parts of the country are worried about our water or our environment, but we're really capable of making those decisions all by ourselves. And indeed, most of these states do it on a routine basis. As my friend pointed out, that's what you did for 10 years, were make these kind of decisions for the state of North Dakota.
No, that's exactly right. And that's why the presidential permit is confined to the point of crossing the border and the nation's interests. After that, it is up to every local jurisdiction. And by the way, not just states. It gets right down to the township level, right down to the individual landowner. All of that jurisdiction is preserved in this bill. And anyway, so you're exactly right. We can look out for ourselves just fine.
And my friend has considerable experience and background, I know, and so does my friend from Pennsylvania. I'm sure my friend from New Jersey may well as well. But with Canada as a country, is it an environmentally sophisticated and advanced country? Do Canadians care about their environment?
That is one of the other ironies that we don't talk about very often, is that if anything, in fact, the new Premier of Alberta ran his whole campaign that he recently got elected on environmental protection. It is his #1 platform plank. He was elected, and he is coming in a couple of weeks to Washington to hopefully get this thing over the line. Yeah.
If I were living on the other side of the border, I would be both mystified and I must say irritated that my country was regarded, a country like Canada, as a sort of third-rate, third world country that doesn't care about its environment. I mean, this is one of the most advanced countries in the world. It's one of the best friends this country has had in us. We've fought together in defense of freedom all over the world. It's the largest, longest unguarded border in the world. I mean, it's a remarkable friend and neighbor to the United States of America. And it's making a request. I mean, I'd be looking and say, gosh, when you needed help moving Alaskan crude across the entire length of our country, we recognized you're a good friend. This is a pretty important thing. We worked with you. Now, when they're trying to do precisely the same thing, and in a way that, as my friend points out, will increase the energy security of the United States, will create jobs in the United States. It's not as if they make the decision, they can't run a pipeline in another direction across their territory and sell this all someplace else, creating no jobs down in Texas.
No, that's an important point, and I just might say, understanding that we are a political body, and that's real, and that the President has political considerations. That's real, and I'm sympathetic to that. I think we all understand that. And why, and getting back to process, and why this process, in lieu of the presidential permit, which the President could have signed any time in the last, 5 years, let's look at it this way. Let's provide the President both the political muscle, and if he feels the need, political cover, to do this jointly as a nation of the people's representatives, and allow and take some of that extra political burden off of him and do it together. I think we don't view things sometimes we shy away from political realities. Political realities are, why we're here. It's okay. I don't think we should apologize for them. Let's just find a way to get it done in the best way.
Well, sometimes issues become symbolic. The substance on this is so breathtakingly clear. Again, half this pipeline is built. We run pipelines across Canada. The transportation of oil by train and truck as compared to pipeline is night and day safer and cheaper and better. We've got billions of dollars worth of pipeline in this country running every which way. And this is one of those issues that, in my view, the environmental community has made into a symbolic issue. It's much, frankly, my view, as the Arctic Wildlife Preserve is in many occasions. It's just breathtakingly stupid not to do this. And I think that's where the frustration comes. And it's breathtakingly unfair to one of our best friends and neighbors who has never treated us this way. And yet we're doing it to them. So I want to commend my friend for carrying the legislation and moving it along. And I think, there's a reason why this, when the American people are asked about this, and you were kind enough to stay on substance, but 60-odd% favor, 20% oppose. I mean, because they just look at it, well, it's jobs, it's energy security, it's kind of fair to our friends. And for my friends who are reveling in the low price of oil, which in my chairman in my part of the world is not always the best news, we're delighted you have it. But I will tell you this, in the oil business, and I've learned this over a lifetime, what goes up will come down and will go back up again. And if you don't keep drilling and building infrastructure now, then I can assure you, you can expect higher oil prices later. I had a friend of mine once who's in the business, and we were at a round table. We had a group of suggestions. And what could we do to lower the price? Well, you need to develop the Arctic, natural reserves. Well, we can't do that politically. Well, you need to build Keystone, because that'll help. Oil's a global commodity, and when it goes on the global market, whether we're using it or not, it brings down the price everywhere. Well, we can't do that politically. That's wrong. Well, you need to do some drilling offshore and open up some. Well, we can't do that. And finally, this guy looks at me, and he drills in Oklahoma. He doesn't drill in any of these places. And he said, well, the next time you go to Washington, and all these people were local producers, and I said, why don't you ask those people in Congress how rich they would like us all to be? Because every time they do this, they lower the supply globally and they increase the price domestically. He said, none of us are going to make any money out of this suggestion. We're all local independent producers. We don't drill offshore. We're not drilling in Alaska. None of this stuff helps us. But if you want to constrict the supply and make everybody around the table a multi-millionaire, go right ahead. We're trying to help you solve a problem for the country. That's what you guys are doing in this legislation, and this is very counterproductive to stop. So thank you. Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I was on my high horse, but this is one of those few issues that just punches all my Republican buttons. So yield back.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Mr. McGovern, you seek recognition.
Yeah, thank you. Just very briefly, look, I appreciate everybody being here today, let me say I love Canada too,